Good afternoon. Good evening, just about, really. It's Thursday, October 7th. Skipped yesterday. I went and did my Bible study with John from church again, but that's about it for the day. And today, I got off work, and amongst other things, I have made buffalo chicken dip. It's been a little bit. I miss it. I love it. So I'm going to have this. And then I have a Kickstarter that, I've been looking forward to for at least a month or so. And it released earlier in the week. To me having a sticker shock of how much it's going to cost. And it's not one of the big ones. It's not like Reaper. It's not like Dwarven Forge, where I kind of have an idea of this is what it's going to cost, and I know it's big, but I'm expecting it. No, this is some books. But thinking about it, I'm like, I mean, it's not much more than I'd think for books of that size from a main publisher, so I'm gonna go with it. I'll talk about it once I finish eating. Level Up Advanced 5th Edition. This is the Kickstarter that I've been hearing about for months. Now, I've been hearing about it for months because it's a big one by Morris, who runs EN Publishing. EN Publishing being a sister company to is it EN World? Yeah, EN World. Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG news, which is like the one news site that I actually check on a very regular basis, usually a couple times a day, just to see what new news in tabletop gaming there is, because that's the news I care about. But because he runs it and they've been preparing for this, they've been promoting their own thing, and I've been looking at it and it's like, like they've been sharing some previews, and there's some stuff it looks good. It's the idea of taking Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition and adding a bit more crunch, adding a bit more substance. The whole thing with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition is it is a very streamlined version of Dungeons & Dragons rules, very simplified. And I like that, and I have liked that, but I thought, yeah, no, I could do with a little bit more added, and some of it's definitely compatible with just normal D&D stuff. So, I mean, there's some things from it. And I've been looking at this for a while. There's things like there's alternate versions of some spells that looks cool, like a rare version of Fireball that's a little bit different than Fireball. You can get things like that. Things to make it where, like that particular, I'm like, oh, that's great. That's something you can have to search for in the world, in the game. That's not something you can just choose on Level Up. No, you can get the normal one when you level up. But if you find this one and copy it into your scroll book, now you're better because of it. I like that. I like that kind of thing. That's fun. And there's more stuff, And I've been looking at it for a while. And it launched earlier this week. But like last week was when we got the news from Wizards that 2024 is going to be the next iteration in D&D. And now they're saying it's going to be fully compatible with the existing stuff, so not necessarily 6th edition, but more or less 5.5 most likely, from the sound of it. We are, believe it or not, almost to 2022. I do think that there'll probably be close to a year of Bob's game. I'm playing Bob's game, so it'll be right around 2023 before I'm potentially running another game. Now I'm running existing games concurrent with it, but whatever. As far as like my main Monday game, 2023. In 2024 is when we're getting new edition-ish. That news came out like less than a week before this launched. And had me step aside, like, am I ever going to actually play with this? And I don't know. I might not. I might. In fact, depending on what the next edition is, I might be really glad to have it, though. Which is why I'm stepping back and thinking, okay, so at a certain point, Wizards is saying, we're going to change some things. Maybe I want to just start edging my way into what, in case this Ian World Level Up Advanced 5th Edition is the next Pathfinder to taking over the mantle of a good game if Wizards manages to screw it up again. Because they have before. Not that 4th edition was a bad game. You can see it there on my shelf. It's fine. It wasn't the best D&D. It's a fun game. So, what do I want to do? And then we get their prices. Now, for the 3 books, there are 5 books they're making. Adventurer's Guide, Trials and Treasure, Monstrous Menagerie, 3 core books. Then they do the Zeitgeist Setting Guide, and one that's their, like, Earth, people of myth, made into the rules. That one doesn't interest me at all. I can't get the Zeitgeist Setting Guide without getting that one as well. And I'm not sure if I'm interested in the Zeitgeist Setting Guide, since I will not play in the Zeitgeist setting. So I'm like, I'm going to skip on those and just look at what is it to get printed hardcover versions of the 3 core books. With shipping. And translated because they're in pounds, but converted will be about $186. And then I have some sticker shock of, well, that's a lot. And it is a lot. That is a lot of money. I spend so much more than that all the time on miniatures and terrain and all that. I mean, so it's not like it's an amount that I will not spend on this hobby. I will absolutely spend this on the hobby. But it's like, I don't know if I'm going to play this, because I don't know what the next iteration of D&D is going to be. And it largely depends on that. So I'm trying to think. But then I'm looking at things on the page as far as getting value. Well, what's it worth? And recalling that, well, yeah, you can usually get them for $30 or $35 each. The core rulebooks that we currently have for D&D are $50 each. So that's $150 that I spent on them. You can now get them a little bit cheaper, but $150. So it's already getting close, and that's, I think the first 2, PHB, DMG, are 320 pages. I think the Monster Manual is a little more, like, closer to, like, 350. So, 350, 360. So, I mean, those are the size of those books. And they're about $50 each. What is the size of these books? Well, they don't actually give the size on the Adventurer's Guide, which is their primary book that is like a full rules. Some of the stuff from the DMG ended up in here. Some of it ended up in our book. But we do see that the appendices start at page 608. So it's over 600 pages. Okay, Trials and Treasure lists, 330-page book. And that's the one that's some game mastering advice, some traps or whatever stuff, and then magic items. Old ones remade and new ones. So that's 330. So that's about the normal size of those books. And then what is the Monstrous Menagerie? Their monster manual. 550 pages. A little shy of 600. So these are big books. These are books that are closer in size to, like, the core book of Pathfinder size book. And I'm like, okay. Those are big books. And I've decided I'm going to go ahead with it. I'm going to get the core books. I've been excited for ages. It also sounds like, because them building things up with their stuff, and they've been doing like play tests and all. I mean, it sounds like for these books that they're expecting, global shipping, disaster, withholding. Probably sounds like first, maybe second quarter of next year is when they're delivering. Sounds like the PDF versions are going to be like right away. And one thing, as I'm sitting here trying to solidify my decision, that just washed over, like literally as I'm sitting here recording, a wave, an idea just washed over me of, and above all, I owe them. That is my news source. I've never paid them anything for gathering so much of the news, helping me keep up with what's going on in the industry that I care about. Sure, I owe them. Let's support them. That's a good thing to do. Because it's also supporting Morris and Ian Publishing, which is tied to Ian World. So I'm order it. I'm back it. Plus, Kickstarters are fun. I like Kickstarters. It's fun. I mean, other than that, what am I saving the money for? To try and spend $1,000 or $2,000 in like a week on Dwarven Forge? When they do next restock? Maybe I just spend a little less there. Dwarven Forge restock coming soon, by the way. If you don't follow them. It's actually the one sort area of news there in publishing or in World doesn't keep me up to date. I have to follow them directly, but I love keeping up with the guys at Dwarven Forge there. So I don't mind it. So I'm back to that. I'm also interested to see what Wizards does with the tentative 5.5. Actually, to be fair, as I started playing D&D in 3rd edition right as 3.5 was coming out, then I actually really kind of hope that they just call it 5.5. That's a good feeling to me. That will be... I'd like to see that. That would be a positive for me. They've seemingly felt the need to be a lot more creative with a lot of the naming, so I'm not so sure they will, but I'd like to see it. All the same, not much going on this evening. Had some delicious buffalo chicken dip. I don't know, in like an hour, I might heat up a bit more of it. Because, man, is it good. It's, Thursday, or more affectionately known, Friday Eve. Nearly the weekend. And I know Nick's already been sending out messages trying to figure out where we're going to go out to eat tomorrow. And, well, it is something to look forward to, so I don't blame him. Thank you for joining me, and joining me as my journey continues.